Awesome. Here we go. Welcome, welcome. This is the February 2021 community call, and we've got a great group of people here. I'm really excited for this. My name's Isabella. I'm actually a designer at Quansight Labs, but I spend a good bit of my time in the Jupyter community, particularly with Jupyter Lab nowadays. And I will be your host today, so welcome. If there's anyone new here, I want to extend a particular welcome to you. And for everyone that I've seen before, thanks for making the time to return. I'm so glad to have you here. There are a couple things that I want to point out though before we get started. One, these calls are recorded. You all heard me say that, but just so people continue to know, they'll also be posted publicly. On top of that, because this is a Jupyter community event, just like in all other Jupyter community spaces, we are held to the code of conduct here. That includes me, and that can be found anytime, jupyter.org/conduct. And I think those are all my official disclaimers I have to do for you. A quick rundown of what we're going to do today. We have an agenda. People have already posted on it, and that's what we'll be going through. I think we have at least 4 people signed up to share today. So yeah, I'm very excited and I'm happy to get started. Oh, also, if you could please sign in on the agenda, that'd be awesome, just so we know who was here. Great. We're actually going to start with our short reports, and I think Nick is the first one on that list again. So would you like to give your...
Yeah, just quick stuff. You know, just because there wasn't anything in there before. All right, what did I say? Yeah, JS license compliance. Isn't that exciting? So in the Jupyter Lab federated era, everybody is distributing a lot more software that's not theirs. And so every time you run that Jupyter Lab extension build, you are packaging other people's stuff. So I've cranked up a PR to start to address that. We got something into the alphas, but you know, the terms say it's got to be easy for people to actually see the license. So there's a whole monstrosity with data grid and all that stuff. If you are interested in that aspect of software, please chime in on the linked PR and you know, how that might impact you and what other challenges you might have. And I'm trying to think about it for people that are shipping, you know, not Jupyter Lab, for which it might be even more important if they're selling something. I ain't selling anything. All right, other thing is the RTC PR. I am not involved in that. I just wanted to point out how rad it is. Basically, you drop into the binder, and then you grab the binder link, and you send that to a friend, and there you are. You're working on a notebook with your friends. But if there's someone else that can speak more to that, I would love them to talk more about it. It's based on YJS. There's a lot of other discussions about other backhauls. I don't really care. I just want something that works, and this is the best one I've seen thus far. That's me.
We also had someone asking in the chat where to sign in. Just on the agenda, there's a top in the table, just so we know who's here. If you want to present, just go further down. I think it says agenda items, but yeah.
Fine.
Thank you, Nick. I'm next on the list of short announcements, actually. I just wanted to say, if you're interested in helping run a community call, just knowing how they're run, hosting one, it would be co-hosting if you want, let me know. I love doing these, but I also think it's probably best if more than one person knows what to do, just for sustainability purposes. So if you have any interest, just let me know. You can reach out. Probably Gitter might be the easiest to find me, but yeah. And thanks. We've got another announcement from, oh, I'm sorry. I'm on the wrong part of the list. Mike?
Yeah. So you might already know that we are working to provide more user features related to code assistance, such as completion and linting and other stuff to Jupyter Lab using the LSP protocol. And it's based on a language server. And there was one language server for Python developed by Palantir, named accurately Python language server. However, Palantir stopped maintaining it, and the maintainers team lost their access to the repository. So we now decided to fork that in a new organization, which is called Python LS, and the link is in the notes, and plan to add new features and improve the completion speed, etc. And it is all in Python. Your contributions are most certainly welcome, and I hope that we will get that up to speed, and that will help everyone in the community.
That sounds great. Thank you.
Thanks to you and Nick for working so hard on that. It's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. Last on the short announcements, I have Matthew Seal, I think.
Yeah. I just want to let people know about a library that got built last summer out of the Google Summer of Code project called Testbook. We just did a talk with the Google Summer student and myself at PyCascade this past weekend around it. But basically it lets you do unit testing for Jupyter notebooks in PyTest style. So it has a lot of convenient sort of abstractions so that you don't have to think about a lot of the boundaries between your notebook and Python code. Right now it's just working against Python, but there's no reason it couldn't work for other kernel languages as well. If you want to check it out, I put the link in the chat. And the talk should be up this week, I think. I just have to click the approve button, I believe. Anyway, if it's interesting you to see another testing framework pattern in Jupyter, I think it fits a niche that was kind of missing.
That sounds great. Thank you for sharing. Any other last minute short announcements? I'll be quiet for 10 seconds to give you a chance.
Yeah, I got something. How about just following up on Isabella's comment about someone else who might be interested in hosting the community calls. One of the things that we've learned like in the Jupyter Hub calls is that this isn't particularly a friendly time for like the Pacific Asian time zones. And so it would actually be really cool if someone either from that time zone or from in the European time zones might be interested in hosting like a parallel community call to capture those people as well, because I'm sure there's people in that in those areas that would like to participate as well. So something just that might be cool to spin up in parallel.
I agree, that's on my to-do list if anyone's interested.
May I add something as well?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just to say that it's my first time here, so I'm completely new in the whole way of working in this community. I was passed information by some guys here in Berlin. I'm in Berlin right now, and yeah, just probably you know each other by name for quite a while. I'm completely new but I'm kind of amazed by the community. So thanks.
Well, welcome. I'm glad you made it here, and I hope this is a good first experience. Please feel free to ask questions. There's a lot of, at least in my personal experience, there's been a big learning curve on a lot of things, so don't hesitate. Everyone here I find is pretty friendly.
Thanks.
Okay, still taking quick announcements, just so we know. Okay, I think with that, we're going to move on to the main agenda items, which, hooray, we have one of our presentations that got moved over from last month. So I've been waiting in anticipation for an entire 4 weeks for Loic's share. So that would be awesome. Are you ready to share?
Yes, but please don't oversell it, please.
Okay, I'm excited, but yes, go ahead.
All right. So I'm going just to share my screen to show you the main page, but I'm going to, in fact, give a quick introduction about why I'm developing this extension. I'm working as a software engineer at the European Synchrotron in France. And I'm going to present you today an extension that I'm developing as part of my work, which is called Jupyter Lab H5 Web, and which is a Jupyter Lab extension to explore and visualize HDF5 file contents. So if you don't know the HDF5 file format, basically it's a kind of monolithic file storage where you have one file and where you can put a lot of stuff into this file. And the advantage of this kind of storage is that you have everything in a single file and you can organize your data in groups, which are like folders on your file system, and data sets, which are like the file that hold really the data that you have, that you want to save in your files. And also you can add some metadata to describe the data that you are storing in your file. So it's really useful in the scientific community for reproducible science, because then you can put some metadata so that people knows from where this data comes from. And why are we interested in this? Is in fact at ESRF, at the European Synchrotron, scientists come to do their experiment, and so they get data at the end that is in this file format. And so that's why we are developing tools to visualize data in this format, because as you can imagine, having some kind of file system in a whole file makes it a bit difficult to explore, let's say, and to fetch the data that you need in your file. And so without dedicated tool, it's kind of difficult to extract data from this kind of file, even though there are a lot of advantages of using a GFF file. So as part of my work at ESRF, we are developing now not the extension, but a web viewer, which is called H5 Web, with my colleague Axel. And so this is a standalone web viewer where you can explore and visualize HDF5 file. This is a React application that we want to deploy at ESRF. And then while developing this tool, we thought that we have a lot of users, of scientists that use Jupyter Notebook and Jupyter Lab to do their data analysis. And perhaps it would be nice to have an extension so that the scientists can use H5 Web to explore their file directly in Jupyter Lab. And so this is why we have developed Jupyter Lab H5 Web, so which is this extension. I'm going to give you a quick demo now. So this is my local instance of Jupyter Lab, where I have installed the extension Jupyter Lab H5 Web. And in fact, what it adds some renderer, let's say, for HDF5 file. So it detects when you have HDF5 file in the Explorer of Jupyter Lab by its extension. For example, here H5 is the extension of an HDF5 file. And so you can see there is a nice logo. And I can double click on one of these files, and then it will basically open a new tab with H5 Web, the web viewer, inside this tab. And so in this tab, I can do basically all the operations that you would expect from a file explorer of HDF5 file. So for example, I can inspect an entity, see that it is a group, what is its name. I can inspect a data set, again, to see what type of data it holds, what is the shape of this data. And then I have another tab, which is display, where I can do all the data visualizations that you would expect for n-dimensional data sets. So for example, here it is a 4D data set that I represent here in 2D. I can change the dimension that I want to show, slice in the dimension, like this, change the color map. Yeah, basically all the tools that you would expect from a data visualization library. We have also some line visualization. This dataset is not very interesting. I can show you here something that is a bit more, perhaps a bit more interesting. Yeah. Change the scale here, have some log scale, and so on and so forth. So that was it for the demo. I wanted to mention that to serve the content of the HDF5 file, we are using the backend of the extension JupyterLab HDF5. So JupyterLab HDF5 is another extension to explore HDF5 file, but it only displays the data as a data grid. There is no visualization yet. And but the backend that is used in this extension to serve the HDF5 file is very useful for us. And I've contributed quite a lot to the backend to implement all the features that we needed. And I also contributed a bit to the front-end part of this extension to try to improve a bit the extension. And I am in contact with Max, which is the main developer of this extension. And we basically agreed that both extensions serve different purpose and then should live, well, they both have a purpose, so they can be living in parallel, basically. So that was it for my presentation. I hope I was not too fast. And so if you have any question or feedback, I'm happy to answer.
I wasn't too fast at all. I know you were worried about me overselling it, but I thought that was fantastic to see. Does anyone else have comments and questions?
I can open up the gate for you, just because typically takes it to get flowing. I just had a kind of a use case for you. It's really common in Keras to export neural networks weights as HDF5 files, or the compiled model. So that could be a use case that could open you up to new users.
You mean exporting as what? I didn't get that, sorry.
So when you save a neural network model, it saves
yes.
it to HTML5 format. So it would be really useful to visualize all those weights of the network activations. That could be of specific predictions. That'd be kind of cool to see, or at least the edges.
Do you know exactly how it is stored? Is it a data set or something?
You just have a model, and then you save to HDF5.
Okay.
So it's not super
but I mean, it
complicated.
must have some kind of format
beyond me.
Okay. But I mean, so far we have already some feedback from people at USRFs that use the extension wizard problem for their HDF5 file, which is neutron and X-ray communities. But we are quite happy and quite excited to get feedback from other disciplines as well. So yeah, so as long as you have an HDF5 file that can be opened, that is a regular HDF5 file, then the extension should work. And even though we, as I said, we developed some feature dedicated to neutron and X-ray data visualization, the viewer should work for all kinds of HDF5 files. So yeah, we are kind of happy to have feedback from other community and perhaps from people that are using machine learning with neural networks and things like that.
There is also a use case in the drug repurposing and biology. I will send a link to that in the chat.
Okay.
I have a quick technical question. How do you prevent JupyterLab from sending all the data to the browser when you double click on it?
This is in fact the point that I rose during last Jupyter meeting, if you remember.
Right. And there's a draft PR for it, but yes, I'm curious what you do. Do you customize JupyterLab to not do that? Or?
No, as I said, the quick fix that I did is to use the file type base64, and then it sent me a small blob of data, in fact, but it's a small one compared to the size of the real file. So I don't know really how it works and how it interprets this, how it interprets the file as some kind of base64 blob, but it only sent me a very small blob. And then all the request of the data and metadata is handled by us in our app with the provider. So we make the request only to get the metadata and the data that we need in the application. So we are kind of bypassing the fetching from JupyterLab with our own fetching strategy, if you want.
And you're not sure why JupyterLab's not sending you the whole file? Is that right?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
but it's
We
great
should
for me.
check.
It's great for me.
It's good. Yes,
Yeah.
right.
But as I said, I have a file that is, I don't know, several megabytes, for example, and then it sent me a small blob of base 64 data.
Yeah.
I don't really know how it gets this, but
Okay.
as it is a small thing, it's all right for me.
Okay.
But as I discussed last time, it would be best for me to have a
Yep.
clean way to do this and to prevent any fetching.
Yep.
Last moment for any kind of final comments, and then we should probably move on to the next share. But thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity to show you this this time.
I love to see what people are working on. It's super informative.
Yeah, thank you, Louis.
Okay. I'm taking the seconds of silence as we're good to move on. We can always continue this discussion elsewhere. So once again, thank you for sharing that. That's really awesome, and I'm glad that it's kind of broken up into two extensions that are both being supported now. Next on the agenda, we have someone who is definitely going to have to correct me about the pronunciation of their name, and please do. I apologize in advance. I'm going to go with Jagane?
Jagane, yeah.
Sorry, thank you. Are you ready to share?
I am, absolutely. Quick intro, we're new to this community as well. My name is Jagane Sundar, and I also have our co-founder, CTO, Jitendra. We've been part of other open source communities before. Jitendra was one of the principals behind HDFS in the Hadoop world, and we started this company to do a machine learning, a cloud-based machine learning platform. We love Jupyter Lab. We want to offer Jupyter Lab hosted as part of our platform, and to that end, we built a cloud-based hosting hosted Jupyter Hub, which we actually offer as part of our free starter service. That's what I want to show today. We built our own instance spawner, we call it, which is the Jupyter Hub spawner, and an authenticator that authenticates to Cognito, both of which we're again going to open source. Let me start my sharing my screen, and I can open it up for questions. Share screen. I'll do the whole screen. Risk there, but okay, here we go. So let me start with a single slide. I promise no slides, but this is a single slide. We have a hosted Jupyter Hub. We also do ML flow. We have a hosted ML flow service to track experiments, but the Jupyter Hub part of it is the interesting piece here. We built our own spawner and our own authenticator. I'll go into the reasons for that. We decided that we did not want to use one of the stock spawners that, for example, uses a container infrastructure underneath it, if you will, a Kubernetes-based management system, partly because we felt that the virtual machine interface is granular enough for us to be able to say, okay, this user needs a 2 GPU instance for his notebook, we provide him with that. And if the user is done, we can not shut down, we basically stop the virtual machine, which means the cloud vendors don't charge you for that. With Kubernetes, we had this concern that one active user in a giant virtual machine could prevent us from shutting down that virtual machine, thereby increasing the cost of cloud charges for the users. And we needed to build a new spawner for that. Again, the spawner uses a lot of our own our service in the backend, so that's not as useful as a just use software. You can't just take it and use it, but it's more for an example that you can use to build your own service should you want to do that. The authenticator uses Cognito, AWS Cognito. Again, the history, I looked at Jupyter Lab, it looked like there was at some point a specific authenticator for Cognito, but then got replaced with a generic OAuth authenticator. We built Interauth as a subclass of generic authenticator that takes care of a few more details like refreshing the token, and it talks to the spawner, so things are all smooth. The end result is this. basically, we have a fully functional Jupyter Lab environment. The hub runs in our account and it's free for, you subscribe for 1 cent a year. This is basically the lowest that Amazon will help us list for. But you get the hub for free, and we start Jupyter Lab instances in your own AWS account, and customers need to be, have either credits. I think a lot of educational institutions get credits, but enterprise will need to come with their own AWS account. We shut down on 15 minutes of idle, and on the left you can see the nice thing, compared to SageMaker and other approaches, is that ours is stock Jupyter Lab. We don't muck with anything. We don't get stuck on a version 2 years old or anything like that. Latest available features are here. If you install tools in the sidebar, the previous presentation was a really nice tool for HDF5. You can't really do that with SageMaker and other environments. Our environment, you can do so because we preserve the container and restart it when you want to do it. Here we have our own tool, which allows you to do some of our extensions, like we have snapshots and object stores and things like that. But other than that, everything is stock. You can add your own stuff. Let me go into one. I want to keep this brief just so show people what we've got and ask if anybody's interested in additional details. But basically, let me go to Google. Sad state of affairs where I have to type in my own company's name to go to my own listing, but that actually works very well. So we have a starter edition. This is the edition that I was talking about, and you go in, you hit continue to subscribe, you pay 1 cent for the year, and you'll be taken to our dashboard. Once you log in, you have the ability to create data scientist users, and the data scientist users, you have the ability to specify what type of virtual machine they will get when they ask for a Jupyter Lab. Here we go. And if you hit on manage users, I have a bunch of users. I'll show you my particular user that I was looking at. So Jagain DS1 is the user that I'm using. If you want to go ahead and just do this, you can pick the type of virtual machine you want available. Oh, I almost forgot. We actually are truly multi-cloud. So if you have an Azure account, you can set up your lab to run on Azure as well. A lot of, as I mentioned again, you can get credits for Azure and Google Cloud and Amazon use those credits created up. And user service, you can offer hosted Jupyter Lab to your customers with what I think is the easiest way to set this up. No setup involved. So in the interest of keeping it brief, wonderful community, by the way, and wonderful software. I am just stunned by the quality and the openness of the software. We want to be good community members, so we're making as much of our capabilities open source as possible. Once again, as I mentioned, the spawner actually just calls into our service in the back end, so that's less useful than one might think, but the authenticator is in fact quite useful. If you want to set up Cognito authentication for your Jupyter Hub, this is a great sample to start with. And of course, we're trying to be good members of the community, so we'll help if any of you have any problems. With that, I'll bring my presentation to an end and open it up for questions. Thank you, Isabella.
Thank you for taking the time to share.
Absolutely.
How do you determine the Python version that's running for the kernel? And can you customize that at all?
Yes, you can. In this particular instance, we have a, so I think it's 3.7 or something like that, 3.8.5. So in the back end, we actually call these transforms. So if you look at a particular, so basically we use a Docker file to create the environment, and you have the ability to modify that Docker file to install a different Python version if you want. The best part of this is that it's all stock open source software installed using pip. We actually install Conda as well, and followed the instructions on several pages about how to set up Jupyter Hub. So we picked 385, which is what came with the latest instructions on the Jupyter Hub website.
And have you made it easy to mount things like EBS or different data stores?
Yes, you are running in your own AWS account, and the virtual machine that we create for you has permissions by means of an instance profile. So you get automatic access to the S3 buckets in that AWS account and all other permissions that are allowed to that VM. Everything else is pretty stock. You can install software on it and will preserve the state of the container. There is a reset function where you can destroy that, terminate that virtual machine and create a brand new one if you want to do so. If you use standard Git integration, then most of the source code can go into the Git repository, and all the software that you install. One thing we have learned, I used to be a Java guy, but I've just fallen in love with Python and this whole environment now. But I do realize that after working for a year, 6 months of tooling around with my environment, and things sometimes irreparably break. And I want to just reset the whole thing. We allow you to do that. But yes, it's just a Docker file that creates all the bits.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anyone else? Okay then. Well, thank you once again for sharing. It's always great to see what people are doing, and I'm glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Next on the list, we have Frederic. PaperMeal stuff. I'm excited. Let's see it. Are you ready to go?
Hey, Isabella. Yeah, I will try. Sorry for the shitty camera, but that's my computer for now. So, let me share my screen. Could you see it? Yes. So what I want to present today is a small tool we have developed in my company, Ariane Next. It's called PaperMyReport, and the idea is to combine PaperMeal and the convert to produce HTML static file from a notebook in a Jupyter environment. So the idea is that you can either have an entry point and select the notebook, set parameters, use PaperMy and produce a report, or directly use a URL with query arguments to parameterize the notebook. And when PaperMy has done its magic, you either get the report you are looking for, or if something goes wrong, you are presented with a page that presents the error, but also that provides a link to open directly the notebook that is failed inside of the Jupyter app of the user. So when I start looking at that, I look at what was done already in PaperMeal and BigConvert. Actually, some people have some idea about that. So one thing I've done first was the new inspect capability of PaperMeal. So what inspect is trying to do is to look at the cell that has the parameter stack, and is trying to extract the name of the variable, the types, and if some help are provided, some nice help for that notebook. So that's allowed to introspect notebook in a programmatical way, and that's one of the things that is used in that extension. So if I take this example, so the first cells is the one that has parameters. So the PaperMy inspection will extract and say, okay, I have two variables, one that is called message with default value of hello, and you will use the comment as the helper. and another variable that's an n, and that's an integer with a default value of 3. And this helper is again in the comment. So for now, this inspect feature has been implemented only in Python using regex. So the idea of using regex is to be able to create a new regex for other language. So it should be not too complicated to implement support for other language than Python. But as my target was Python, I only focus on that. So that's the reason. And then for the demo now, if I can. Oh, sorry for that. So the service is a Jupyter Hub service. So when you get it installed, you on the home page of the hub, you get an entry report to authorize it. And here, so here I'm using the interactive workflow. So I'm presented with a combo box that's just listing all the notebook that's available in the targeted folder. So, and if I pick one, it will use inspect from PaperMyReport to just create a form. So that's the form that is created from the notebook I just presented. So with the 2 parameters, and the helpers is just printed for to help the user. And if I pick another one, there is more or less. And if I pick this one, there is nothing because there is no parameters. Those are the tests that are provided in the repository. And so if you click generated, so what it will do is it will redirect you directly to the static HTML page. So the notebook has been executed. PaperMyReport has introduced the cell with the definitive value. So of course I let the default, so that's so much interesting. And the nice thing also is mainly that you get directly access to the URL that you can share with other people to generate the same report. And if I go back and take the example that's not working on purpose, and I do generate, so this time it's not working. Okay, the style by default are shit, sorry for that, but that's up to everybody to tune them for the liking. So you come with the error from the PaperMyReport execution, and the tools also. So the name of the user is called Mark, and the tools is copy that broken report, that broken notebook inside of the home user. So you can directly click on the link and it will open the Jupyter lab with that notebook if everything goes right. So that make it easy to introspect what's going on and to correct the error. So of course here it's really easy to fix. That's the purpose of the table. So that was it for me. So the repo is open source and everything has been published on Conda and Pip. And so it's called ArianeX PaperMeal for people looking for it. It's not in my personal account. And the repo comes with a Docker file and the README explain how you can spin up a Jupyter Hub. It's exactly the one I used here for the demo. So you can quickly use it and see if it can be useful for you. And I hope next month I will present also that guy's Prewrite. It's a nice test framework for integration tests, and I will try to come up with some presentation for integration test of Jupyter Lab. So it will be interesting because it produces video and screenshot and it make testing quite interesting for at the integration level. So thank you. If you have any question, happy to answer them.
Thank you. That sounds very useful. Anyone else?
That's really awesome, by the way. I think you captured the original use case for why we added inspect. So exactly that type of interface. It's the first time someone put together in the open source space for it. So it's really neat. I actually really like the combination of tools and the way you put it together.
Yeah, basically I have not so much credit. It's just using what's around, but that was missing.
Have you thought at all about like a multi-step wizard where you could run reports kind of back to back?
So for now, our use case was very simple, so that's answered the need, but that could be the next step. Yeah.
At that point, I would recommend looking at schedulers if you go to that stage and scheduler integration, because you'll very quickly get into DAG management, and then that's a whole can of worms. So I like the simplicity. If you looked at combining it, I would suggest looking at, if you were going down that path in the future, is use the tool you're using, but use it in a context where a scheduler is managing executions of that over and over again, rather than the other way around. It'll turn out cleaner. And it keeps the tool simple, which I think is a really good thing to do. Like, you don't have anything super complicated, so it's easy for someone to land it and interpret what the tool is doing and how it relates.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
If I understood it well, when you run it, you see the code of the cells themselves. So, first of all, is this right? And second, is there a way to generate this report based on the variables, but not showing the code, but just the result?
So the two tools here are PaperMeal and NBConvert. So I don't know much you're familiar with NBConvert. So NBConvert is the root tools that's provided with Jupyter to convert a notebook in other format.
Yeah.
And one of the things that is nice about it is that you can implement a plugin. So on the documentation, I probably won't figure out the right one, but there is some preprocessors that are existing out there. And you can create, for example, a preprocessor that's removing the input. That's up to you to configure the preprocessor, and it's possible already to say, I don't want the input cells, for example. There are some stuff around that allow to do such a kind of thing. Here in the demo, all the tools are configured as a standard. So as a standard, everything is output with the input cells too. Yeah.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Any last comments? We should probably move on to the next demo, but
that's the one here. Sure, it was just a bit further in the documentation. If you look at the documentation, you have some pointers for that.
thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
That was wonderful. Okay then, going on to our last demo of the day. Nick, always here with more demos. Thank you very much.
Hi, folks. Let me get on my screen share. I'm very bashful. Here we go. Should be sharing. Okay. That's a kind of environment that's not starting yet. All right. So if you all have encountered Drawio before, it's this nice piece of open source that a company open sourced after all the browsers started supporting SVG, and they didn't have to support, there was no value add in supporting IE7 anymore. Sorry for the dogs, I'm at a coffee shop. So Wolf and his merry band of men over at QuantStack dropped a thing 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I don't even know what year it is anymore. Look at that, it's almost its birthday. And so they got this guy here, which is Jupyter Lab Drawio. It's up on, you know, pip and conda and all that stuff. It supports Lab 3. There's also a 2.0 flavor. There's no picture, whatever. I forked that a while ago because there was a lot of stuff that I wanted, and I went kind of crazy on it. So we did that. And with Jupyter Lab 3, it made a lot more sense to just put everything into a package. It's a really heavy package. It's like 75 megabytes. And this is what I ended up with, which is the tool right here. So this is the full UI that you get, you know, including an extra menu bar and all that. From diagrams.net, I can't turn off my network right now because I'm talking to you, but it has all of the shapes in here, so I can, you know, have some material design. I think, like, you know, maybe I want to lay out some Cisco stuff, and I don't know, whatever. So drop that in there, and now if I didn't want to do this, I can make another page and go in, and oh my God, there's so much stuff. Where is it? Material design. I thought I clicked material design on. I don't know. We're gonna make a GDML, whatever that is. So yeah, I got some sliders. Everybody likes sliders, so you can put all these things in there. And these are actually computational shapes. So if I make it bigger, it doesn't just make the circle bigger. It makes the track bigger. And then I can change where it is on the track. And look at that. It actually updates how far it is on the progress bar, which is pretty sick. So now that I've done this, it's got layers too, somewhere, view, layers. So it's like lab inside lab, you know, like it's super complicated, but don't look at how it actually works under the hood because it's super confusing. So anyhow, you can do fun stuff like that. And the thing that I added, if you'll note here, the file extension is SVG. Go here, go reveal in show in file browser. And there's some, this is just an iframe, so it gets very confused sometimes. Anyhow, you'll note that this is an SVG, which is kind of freaky. And we can look at that as a text editor, and we can look at that as a image text, and you know, who knows what else. So now we're looking at it as an SVG, and we're looking at it as a text, and don't look at that text, good Lord. But you know, if I go in here and I just change this little fella right here, you know, it just added another slide bar, which I was not expecting that. Anyhow, so as I'm changing this, because it's all part of the same happy-go-lucky DOM bus, content bus, this is actually, you know, a documentation grade, archival grade SVG that we could save, as well as an editable document. When I hit save, it saves both of them, and you see them all update. So that's very exciting. The other flavors of things that it exports, I didn't actually hook over here. It's all just through the oh, I hate the modal. Let's see here, export at, come on, man. Save as diagram. I think it's confused. I think it's looking at the wrong, there we go. Diagram, there we go. I got all these pretty icons in here. So you can save it directly as the diagrams.net format, so that'll work inside of your Confluence. It'll work on diagrams.net. You can save it as MX graph, which is kind of their older one. Basically, each of these pages is an MX graph, but instead of breaking stuff, they just keep supporting it. It's super freaky. You can save it as a notebook. I don't know why there's two of them. You can save it as a PDF, a PNG. If you really want to see something gross, you can actually embed this whole nonsense thing, which has your host and whatever, inside of an editable PNG, which doesn't make any sense to me, but it works. And then the SVG, which is kind of my favorite format. So let's see what happens if we try and make a PDF. I have no idea what's going to happen. So under the hood, it actually has to install Puppeteer because that's what Drawio built their export server on. So sometimes it doesn't always work the first time because NPM, but it is, you know, it's working on it. So while we're waiting for that to happen, this is one of the first times that I actually did a full implementation that includes a MIME renderer, a widget, and a document. So it makes a bajillion iframes, and obviously that's not very pretty. The more exciting thing is when it actually embeds the actual style inside of it. That one's not very impressive because it didn't put anything in there. So I'd have to actually like make some Drawio, which is really kind of boring. Oh, it worked! Look at that. Oh my God! It made a 2-page PDF that looks pretty much exactly like I wanted, except for these broken shapes. So sometimes the shapes don't make it all the way through. And sometimes if you rerun it, it does work the second time. We can try it again, see if it happens. Let's try it one more time. On a newer version of Drawio, nope, still broken. So some of those shapes are just too fancy for their rendering service to work. But it's like a one-liner to update their version of Drawio, so I can stay up to date on how that works. Links don't work inside here, which is kind of too bad. That'd be fun, but like somehow their crazy, you know, sketch layer thing works. I don't even understand. That's about it. Any questions?
Thank you, Nick. Your demos always make me smile.
The widget's hilarious. Let's do the widget real quick. This is like super gross. Oh yeah, because it's got all the things. Oh man. Why make something simple if I can make something super complicated? So the widget's cool because you can change the zoom, which doesn't work very well because it doesn't center. You know, you can, I think you can listen to the scroll. No, you can change the scroll. I don't know. It doesn't look like it's working right now. That's too bad. You can find out what is selected, I think. Yeah, it selects different things. You know which page you're on. Oh wait, maybe that's the other thing. Nope, that doesn't work either. I don't know. I just tried throwing as much stuff as oh, there we go. I can change the grid. That's what you want. And then this doesn't. Yeah, don't try and do that. That's I mean, I could go in here and change some text. So, nah, a sub. Oh, see, man, that's what happens when you link too hard. It doesn't really work. I could make it like something else that exists here. Branch space. Yeah, there we go. So the pieces are there for making computational diagrams, which is really important when you start getting to these big workflow engines and stuff like that. Anyhow, that's all. Thank you. No one took any notes. Yeah.
I was gonna try, and then you were moving fast. I will.
I go pretty fast. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I'll catch up on it. Thank you. I feel like I'm watching Nesting Dolls at some point with all the, yeah.
I'll stop sharing. No, stop sharing. Yeah.
Anyone else have comments? Questions? We are close on time, but I want to give a little chance. Lots of comments about how rad it is in the chat.
Oh, there's one last thing. One last thing. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
You're fine.
So the freakiest thing that it does is if I need something really quick. I need like oh God, look at all this stuff. There's a way to do something, and I think it's in the examples. I don't remember. Does anyone know how to write BQ plot really fast? I don't remember how. I also remember how to do matplotlib really fast. It's like matplotlib backend SVG. Anyhow, if I was to somehow get from IPython G, oh yeah, import display import SVG. Okay, so if I SVG, where was it? Notebooks. All right, that's broken until I upgrade. Where were my examples? They're in examples.
I think you have one in the chat if you're.
Yeah. Oh, does somebody have a?
Yeah.
Somebody got a thing? Somebody got a thing? That'd be awesome. I love it when. There we go. Panda series. Yeah. But then I need the SVG backend. And I might not have pandas. Looks like I do. All right. Pandas hist. Okay. So actually this will work fine. It just won't look so pretty. So then if I make a notebook out of it, or I make a diagram out of it, so now it's a diagram and a notebook, and I don't even know what that means. Come on, baby. And then you can, because all these things are really well-behaved MIME types, you can do this. Gah! It works. And so this is a notebook with its output saved inside of its notebook. It doesn't live update or anything like that, but this is the magic of standards, you know? So I love that. That's my favorite trick. There we go. Thanks for the assist. Who did that? That's Mike. Thanks, Mike. The man.
Amazing. That was just a, but wait, there's more. But wait, there's more.
Yeah, and to Jason's point, yeah, it's a widget too. So I think that pattern, which I think this is the only one that I've actually fully achieved this on, if you start at the MIME renderer, the MIME renderer gives you the file format. But if you write it in the right way, then you can have a widget basically for free. And I think that pattern is really important. One, because the MIME renderer has a better chance of working in other clients than JupyterLab. But also because it might work offline, or it might work in Voila or something like that when all these things kind of unify, or inside a Jupyter book. So, you know, like we all think that there's like magic in widgets, but it would be great if those things kind of put together. That's all.
That's great. And I'm not going to cut the call off immediately, but just so anyone knows, there's no pressure to stay if you have to go for something, but I will try and wrap this up. No, you don't have to be quiet, Nick. That was really awesome. Thank you. I'm curious about this, for which I know we've talked a little bit about before, the potential with, like, could we work with Jupyter UI since we have material design in there? But kind of a bigger question, but I'm curious about this extension personally.
Yeah, so it's awful to actually write that geometry yourself, except, frick, all right, fine, I'll get back on the horn one more time. So if you, so now, you know, now I made that thing, right? So if I was to make a new page, I'm like, don't do that. You know, so what does Jupyter Lab look like? It looks like it's got a box, and then it's got some, you know, some boxes and some boxes. Whoa, it's got some boxes and some boxes, and you know, whatever. And you can do like really fancy stuff with groups and things like that. But you know, like if I was a Jupyter Lab, I'd kind of look like this. Anyhow, so you take that, and then it's got this little weird space that they don't really tell you what to do with, but it works great. And you can select all this stuff and drag it into its Scratchpad. That actually lives in local storage. And so if I was to now make a new, let's make a new diagram, because that's in local storage, it's over here in Scratchpad now, so I can put that into here. There's also a way to export these somehow. Add, edit, export. Here we go. So, and then I can put it on a device or a browser. I don't know. Download. There we go. So, save. Okay, you can add multiple things. Save. That didn't work. Anyhow, there's a particular set of buttons you press, but yeah, you can bootstrap a set of these libraries that are written in their underlying XML. I was going to show you the ugly XML, but yeah, it's not like you have to be an XML wizard that no one wants to be to get stuff out.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. That's really good to know. I'll have to look more into it. Okay, since we're a little bit over, but thank you so much. We had so many good demos today. Thank you all for taking the time to show up. Any last comments before I do my quick wrap up info? Okay, I'm going to take the prolonged silence as a no. But yes, thank you for taking the time to be here. I do want to shout out our next community call will be next month, so that is March 30th. That's also a Tuesday right now. Same time, same place. If you have any interest sharing, if you haven't shared before, if you're new here, please consider it. It's really great to hear from new people and hear what different people are doing. That's part of the big reason how these calls help me with my work, in fact. They don't have to be super polished or anything. I don't know whatever you're worried about here. I think you saw today we had quite a range of demos and they were all lovely. So yeah, I can post you in the chat. I do have a place to give feedback if you want to for any reason, and I posted the agenda so you can sign up at any point. And once again, reach out if you have any interest in being a part of running these calls, just so they can keep running, even if for some reason something happens to me. So thank you so much again, everyone. Have a great day. I'm going to stop recording now. If I can figure out how, always the challenge.